Billings Farm at Home. Today for Foodie Friday, we have a recipe that is in keeping with our Earth Day theme from this week. And there's two parts to that. The first part is that each of the ingredients in this recipe is brought to us by a pollinator. So our pollinators today are bats, bees, and flies. And the other part of this recipe is that it uses the whole vegetable. As you may or may not know, food waste is one of the most significant contributors to global climate change currently, and food waste is the largest contributor to deforestation. So the more we can do at home to either use our whole vegetable or compost or a combination of those things is something that each one of us can do to have an impact. So today we're doing baked sweet potatoes with Swiss chard and avocado, and there's some lemon in there as well. So let me walk you through our ingredients. I've got my sweet potatoes. The recipe calls for 2. You certainly can add a couple more to that. I have my Swiss chard, which is so beautiful. So this is the leaves of the Swiss chard, and these are the stems chopped up because we're going to use the stems in this recipe as well. I have an onion that has been peeled and just sliced up. The peels have gone into the compost and they will be given to my neighbor's chickens. I've got lemons here that are cut up and my avocado and a little bit of salt. So the first step in this recipe is to bake the whole sweet potato. So I've got my oven set to 400 degrees, and the first thing I'm going to do is take a fork and just lightly pierce the skin, because as the sweet potato cooks, we want the steam and the juices to be able to escape without too much trouble. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of olive oil on my hands like this and rub it all over the sweet potato. Just give it a nice coating and then put it on my lined sheet tray. I've lined it with some parchment paper because when the juices come out, they can burn onto the pan, and so in order to save my pan, I've lined it a little bit. I'm gonna do my other potato here, and then we're gonna put it in the oven. Okay, so I'm ready to prepare my Swiss chard for the sweet potato recipe. The sweet potatoes are roasting in the oven. They're about 5 to 10 minutes away from being done, so now's a good time to prepare my greens. So because we're using the stems and they're a little bit tougher, we want those to cook a little bit longer than the actual greens of the plant. So I'm gonna start with my onions and the chopped up stems first in my pan. I've got a little bit of olive oil heating here. And then once these are a little bit softer, I'm gonna add the greens as well. So here we go with the onions. Cooking onions always smell so delicious. And then look at how beautiful those colors are together. And at this stage, I am gonna just sprinkle a little bit of salt over this just to give it some flavor at this beginning stage. Once this is soft, I will add in the rest of my greens. So my stems and onions have been cooking for about 3 minutes. They've started to get soft. So now I'm gonna add my greens so that they can all cook together and finish the rest of the way. And if you've never cooked with Swiss chard before, this looks like a lot of greens. You're gonna be really surprised at how much it cooks down. So we're just gonna put this back on heat here and let it cook down. I am gonna add just a touch more salt to the greens themselves, just to give it a nice flavor. And then once these are all cooked down, we'll be ready to assemble our dish. So now we're ready to assemble our dish. So you can see what the greens look like when they're cooked down. We've got loads here. So a really nice thing that you can do is once the sweet potato is all assembled, you can have the leftover greens with your dish. I like to have this with fish, is really nice, or it's a really nice side dish with anything if you're making a quiche or anything like that. So first thing, and the potato might be a little bit warm, we're just gonna cut it open. And at this stage, if you want to add a little bit of butter to your nice warm potato, you can. Then we're gonna pack it full of these delicious greens. Just get them nice and packed in there. that. I've got my avocado. I've sliced it. Please be very careful when you're cutting avocado in the skin like that, because a knife can slip very easily. So just be careful. So it's our avocado on top, and lastly, I'm just gonna squeeze some lemon juice all over the whole thing. You also can top this with a little bit of cayenne pepper. I've chosen not to do that for my recipe today, but it is a nice way to just add a little bit of heat and a little additional flavor if you'd like. And this is our delicious pollinator friendly recipe that uses all aspects of our vegetables. So if you have any questions about this recipe, please leave them in the comments below, and we'll see you next week for Foodie Friday.